This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today I will share with you a little bit about Wilkes University. Feel free to stop me at any time if you have any questions, and we'll go ahead and dive right in. So most people have no idea where Wilkes-Barre is, or Wilkes University. So we are located in the northeastern region of Pennsylvania, right on the western edge of the Poconos Mountains. For students, I like to say we're a few hours from New York City. Then they usually know where we're located at, or very close by. So we're about 2 hours from New York City, 3 hours from Washington, D.C. and Boston, and about 2 hours from Philadelphia, just to kind of give you a perspective of where we're located in the United States.
Okay. And Emmy, how far is Michigan from that place?
Fun fact,
How far is Michigan?
I'm actually based in Columbus, Ohio. So
Aha.
I'm in Ohio, but I work for the school in Pennsylvania here. I'm in Columbus, which is about 7 hours away from Wilkes, and Michigan is about
Okay.
two
Okay.
hours away from me. So
That's absolutely
total
no problem because
about 9 hours probably by drive.
because there's a place called Grand Rapids. If you by the way know that Grand Rapids, my sister is there in Grand
Oh, okay.
Rapids, so I thought it might be somewhere near only. That's why.
Yeah, it's about a nine
Well,
hour drive, but by flight,
uh,
maybe less than an hour, hour and a half.
all right. Please carry on.
Just to kind of give you some visual to where we're located. So we have the mountain ranges in the back, and then down below is actually our campus embedded into the downtown area. So just discussing a little bit about Wilkes University and how we came to be in our history. We were founded as Bucknell University Junior College in 1933. We kind of formed more into Wilkes College as a four-year independent institution in 1947. And then in 1990 was when we actually established the name Wilkes University. So we've been around for a while, just a little bit different names over the years. We've established our first doctoral degree in 1996 when we opened our Nesbitt School of Pharmacy. And in 2004, our School of Business and Leadership opened, and it's named after one of our former international students from India, Mr. Jay Sidhu. So he is very actively involved and really
Wow.
passionate about the School of Business. So we still work with him very, very closely to this day in partnerships in India. In 2005, our Henry Student Center expanded. 2013, we received a $35 million upgrade to our Science Center and added 4 floors of state-of-the-art laboratories. So we have a lot of lab space for our students to be able to participate in research and to conduct their own research on their own time. Our first PhD was established in 2017. And then most recently, we have been named a professional doctoral university by the Carnegie classification. This is a photo of our student center, one of my favorite spots on campus. It's a hub for everything that students are doing, from different activities. As you can see in this photo, we let student groups set up booths for activities they want to have for other students. Our dining hall is on the 3rd floor of this building, and we have 2 other locations to eat on the 1st floor of this building as well. And this is just kind of a very unique study space, a place to hang out, and for students to kind of come all together and really enjoy their time together at Wilkes. Bringing a little bit more of campus to you, this is a mansion style office building. Our president and provost are housed in this building called Westchester Hall. All of our administrative offices are actually housed in all of these old mansions that were built long ago and were used as homes way back in the day. So it's a very unique piece that we like to really incorporate the history of the city into the university. And touching on it later, actually some of our students can live in these mansion style housing as well as part of our residence halls. So with all of the options that are out there for students, thousands of universities around the world and quite a few choices in the United States, I want to share why Wilkes is different and what kind of student, would really excel and really want to choose Wilkes. So we have about 2,500 undergraduate students on our campus, and we have about another 2,500 graduate students, and those are a mix of online and in person. So overall, we have about 5,000 students on campus that come from 23 different states in the United States and 15 different countries from around the world. We also have very small class sizes with this amount of students. So we have a 13-to-1 ratio. So we have a lot of students who are able to actively participate in class, really get to know their professors and kind of have that mentoring relationship with one another. So that's something that I think students really enjoy about Wilkes. If they're not wanting to get in that big school feel where there's a big lecture hall of 500 students, Wilkes is certainly the place for them to be able to excel and really participate in class. And with that small class size, we want to make sure all of our students are able to get hands-on experience before they leave us. So 100% of our students are participating in research, internships, or a capstone project. It's required for all of our students to do one of these for their program, whether that be a research of their own, a group research project, or even working alongside a faculty member. Some of our students are able to be published during their undergraduate studies while working with our faculty members. And with that, our faculty, 91% of our faculty have the highest possible degree in their field. So we want to make sure that our faculty, they're well versed in their field and they're able to really educate the students that we have here at Wilkes. And with that, we also have a 96% job placement rate for our undergraduate students. So we really believe in the small class sizes with that hands-on practice and mentoring relationship that we're able to have such success in placing our students into employment once they've graduated from Wilkes. And then I know it's very important for students, their finances and their family, to make sure that they're able to afford their education. So almost all of our students are receiving some type of scholarship or merit aid, and that includes our international students as well. And I will definitely touch on those scholarships later, but almost all of our students are getting scholarships to come to Wilkes. So at Wilkes, we have many different schools and accreditations. Most importantly, we are accredited by Middle States here in the US, and many students are very interested in engineering, so I know it's very important to highlight we are ABET accredited as well. We have lots of other accreditations for all of our other programs as well. And we have various schools and colleges. So we have the College of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences, College of Science and Engineering, School of Education, our Nesbitt School of Pharmacy, we have a School of Nursing, and then we have the Sadhu School of Business and Leadership. And on this slide, these are not all of our majors. These just tend to be the most popular among international students that I've seen. Obviously, engineering typically among students is very popular. We have a wide variety in our business school that we've recently done a market study and revamped our Bachelor's of Business Administration and really focused in on what jobs are out there and employability. So these are kind of the majors that we've seen that students are really out there finding jobs with, such as corporate finance, financial investments, hospitality leadership, and sport management has become quite popular as well. And then we have a wide variety in our College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences as well. This is just a small list of what tends to be quite popular among our students. And as I had mentioned about our renovations that had happened for our science building, this is the outside of our science building, and as you can see, the glass panes of the windows. This is where some of our laboratory space is, so it has a lot of natural lighting. Students are able to go in there and use these labs for their own research when a class is not being held. It's a wonderful place to study, and it overlooks a lot of the natural scenery of our campus. And this is a photo of inside of one of our labs that students are able to use. I unfortunately don't have a picture of our wonderful 3D printer area, but we do have a 3D printer that's available for students to use as well. And a lot of them like to place their creations from the 3D printer in one of our areas that allow students to show off what they've done in their work, which is really unique. So touching on our admission requirements, we're very straightforward and want to make this as an easiest process as possible. So for our students applying right out of high school, we ask them to complete an online application, which can be our application on our website or a common app. And our application is completely free. We don't require any payment. We ask that the students submit a copy of their high school transcripts in English, so if they're not already in English, and then a copy of their passport, and then proof of English proficiency. I've listed a few of the most popular and the common ones here, but we accept IELTS, TOEFL, SAT, ACT, Duolingo, or if the schooling is completely taught in English medium, then we just ask for a letter from the school stating that the school was taught in English and the student was proficient, and we will use that as their English proficiency requirement. And for undergraduate students, that's it. It's very simple, very easy. We like to make this process very easy and quick for the students because we know how important it is, and sometimes they get very antsy when they apply abroad and they want to know as soon as possible what their admission decision is. So I actually process all of the undergraduate applications myself. I am the counselor. So a student and a school would work directly with me for the application and the scholarship. So when a student applies, that serves as their admission application and their scholarship application. It's not separate. So we will look at their application for admission decision, and based off of their previous academic performance at that time, we will also award their scholarship as well. So we have soft deadlines that I've listed here. For spring, typically it's November 15th due to the holidays we have here in the States. We want to make sure that students have enough time to be able to attend their visa appointments. And then for fall, we typically say June 15th. However, we will process after that if students are able to attend a visa appointment and they think they can get here. I know right now with everything that's happening in the world and with COVID-19, we're trying to be as flexible as possible. Since many embassies are closed right now, we could still accept a student for this fall. Should they not be able to get here, we can always defer them to the next available term, which would be in January. So on these scholarships, they are renewable for all 4 years that a student is here at Wilkes, as long as they stay in good academic standing. First year students are able to receive anywhere from $10,000 US up to $19,000 US. And that's, again, renewable for all 4 years. Should you work with a transfer student, their scholarships range from 8,000 to 14,000. So those scholarships are a little bit less, but we do review college transcripts and try to award as much transfer credit as possible, even from abroad institutions. So most important, I know, and cost is a concern for students and families, are tuition and fees. So these are our estimated costs for undergraduate study. Tuition and fees together is right around $37,622. Miscellaneous we include as books, fees, health insurance, around another $2,000. Where it differs is room and board. Students do not have to live on campus. They can choose to live on or off, although I highly recommend at least a first-year student to live on campus to get that full experience and to really be able to integrate and really be able to understand what it's like to be at a U.S. college. So I highly recommend it, but it's not required. So off campus, we estimate about 10,000, but that could vary if a student lives with friends or however they choose to choose their accommodation. And then for on campus, room and board is around $15,408. So typically for an I-20, if a student receives no scholarship, we'd ask them to show right around 55,000 US dollars. But if they received one of our higher scholarships, about $20,000 could be essentially shaved off that price. So it all depends on what scholarship that student would receive. So the ones I talked about previously are our merit awards. We do have an honors program that does require a student to submit an SAT. So if your students are taking SAT, they would need to submit that, but there are additional scholarships through our honors program, which is quite competitive, and there is an interview process, but there are additional scholarships that they could apply for there. So touching on some of the services that we have at Wilkes, our International Student Services Office is absolutely wonderful, and they're able to help a student with just about anything that they could think of. They'll assist with airport pickup and host a week-long orientation for students to make sure that they have the tools needed to start their courses and to make sure that they're prepared and ready for academic studies in the US. Since I know it's a very different coming from another country and then arriving to campus, being unsure, maybe not knowing anybody. So we want to make sure that they feel welcomed and prepared. Our office will also help with anything immigration-wise, OPT, CPT applications. They also host workshops on American cultural issues and problems. So if a student has any issues, those can be addressed. They're there even if a student doesn't know where to buy a birthday cake for their friend. We're there to help. They're there to help. I know people have called on the weekends to them about, oh no, I need help to find cupcakes. Like, what do you need cupcakes for on a Saturday? But they are there, and I've had people drive them to students to Walmart on a weekend. So with our close-knit campus and our office, they want to make sure that students are well taken care of, and I know that's really important for parents to know. We also have weekly coffee hours that they host on Wednesdays, so students can come in, grab a coffee, just relax, hang out with other students, play games, and we tend to try and have them have a theme. So if it's about to be Christmas time here in the States, there'll be something educational with that, so that students are able to learn about the U.S. culture and culture from around the world. So if Diwali or Holi is coming up, there would be a component of that as well, hosted from our students.
Great.
We do have a lot of campus involvement. We do have Division III sports, so if you do have any students that are athletes and looking to play, All of our teams do recruit international students. Men's soccer tends to be the most popular, and women's soccer. So those are our two most popular sports, but we have a wide variety. And we really want students to be involved on campus, not only in athletics, but we have honor societies, different communications groups, arts, sports, leadership, and we do have our international student clubs. So Chinese New Year was recently, and I know students were able to celebrate that on our campus. But not only on our campus, students are able to share their culture with the local community as well. Most recently, we have a large group of students from that are from Panama, and they were able to share their National Day with the city of Wilkes-Barre, not just the campus. So downtown in our square, they set up different booths to share about their culture and their country, wore traditional outfits, and hosted even traditional dance and allowed to teach people this dance. So we don't want to just limit students to learn about the U.S., but we want them to educate the city of Wilkes-Barre and the people around this community about the world as well. I will be upfront, it does snow here. We have lots of snow. We are not in California, we are not in Florida. So I like to make
Wow.
sure students are very aware of the weather here. It's very important, especially coming
Mhm.
from India where it is, very warm and you can wear sandals and you don't need a big coat or a hat. So
And
these are
generally the time of the Christmas, I suppose.
um, so this could be anywhere from Christmas to now. We might be getting snow like next week.
Ah.
So,
Oh.
yes, so it can range from anywhere October to
Okay.
now, depending on how the weather goes. Um,
Okay.
Weather typically in the summertime is around 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Fall is around maybe 55 to 60 to Fahrenheit, and spring is usually around like 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Um, so it does get very cold. So students that do come in January, I like to make sure that they have the correct shoes when they get off the airplane and make sure they have a coat and a hat before they get here, because I've dealt with students who were not prepared and were walking in snow in sandals. Um,
No.
so full disclosure, it can rain 1 minute and then be snowing the next, and 2 hours later it can be sunny. So I like to
Oh
make sure
man.
students are prepared for um, very different type of weather here compared to at home. And as I mentioned about sharing culture, this is some of our Panamanian students that we're teaching our faculty how to do their traditional home dance in their traditional clothes. So we like
Wow.
to really share the different cultures on the campus. Um, and I know students want to come here to learn about America, but I fully believe, and the university believes, that we also have to educate the other way. We don't want the students just coming here to learn about us. We want to learn about them as well and educate our American students as well who may not be able to have the opportunity to go abroad. I know food is also incredibly important to students and families. So we do have different dining options on campus. For those students who have those late nights and need a coffee in the morning, we do have a Starbucks on campus. We have an all-you-can-eat dining hall on the third floor of our student center. So the students who do live on campus do have a meal plan, and it's an all-you-can-eat style, so they can go up, swipe, and eat as much as they want while they're there. We do take into consideration students' dining restrictions, so halal, vegetarian, gluten-free, you name it. We make sure that it's available for our students. Um, and there's a menu online that they're able to look at to see if there is any options for them for that day. We try to make sure that all students are able to eat every single day at our dining hall. We do also have 2 other fast food kind of style restaurants, one more like sub sandwiches, cold sandwiches, and then we have your traditional American fried fast food, French fries, chicken, cheeseburgers, which also does have veggie burgers as well for students. Meal plans can also be used at local restaurants around town. And we do have an Indian restaurant, though I have not been to India, but students say it's pretty close to home. So if they want to get, a meal that's a little bit more familiar than your pizza or your cheeseburgers, there are some local restaurants that are international. We also have some Middle Eastern Mediterranean food as well. That's actually run by some Wilkes faculty members. So we have these things around town and around campus that students can still get a little bit of, home away from home. Again, I mentioned it's important. We really push students to make sure that they live on campus at least the first year to really get the full experience. So we have various residence halls. They all have hardwired fire alarm systems, 24/7 locked doors. And each building also has one or more residence assistants. All of our buildings you cannot access unless you have permission with your Wilkes ID card to get into that building. So I know it's important for families and parents to know that their student is safe when living on campus. So student has to swipe to get into that building. We also, for students who live on campus, there's free laundry services, Wi-Fi, and cable TV. So students have all of these things for free while living on campus. And it varies on the kitchen and the bathroom layout by location. And some also have pool tables or private balconies. Our on-campus apartments are high-rise, so almost every single one of those has a private balcony for students. So freshmen tend to live in our traditional residence halls or the mansion style housing, as you can kind of see down here. The mansion style has typically a student would have their own room and then have the really common shared areas of kitchen, living space. And then our other option for first year students tend to be where there's 2 in a room and then a shared restroom. As they move on, they could choose to live off campus or choose one of the apartment style housings that we have. Some other campus services that we have, internship assistance, career services. I know resumes and CVs are very different around the world, so we want to make sure that students are ready and prepared when they go to apply for jobs here in the US. We have tutoring, a writing center, counseling and health services, disability support, and health and wellness. I know health and wellness and counseling are becoming more popular, and students are really taking advantage of these services. So we do have counseling if students feel homesick and they just want someone to speak to about that, or if they have the flu and they need some medicine. We have that ability and capability on campus, so students don't need to find a doctor off campus. And I like to touch on this because I know religion and faith are important to some students and families. In our Farley Library, we actually have a prayer space that is available for all students of all faiths. So it's available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Students are able to go in here and use that prayer space as needed and as they see fit. And touching on our public safety, we have public safety officers who are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They are even still there during the shutdown of the university due to COVID-19. So they are still there patrolling campus. We do have a Wilkes shuttle bus. So if a student needs to go into town, go to the grocery store, go shopping, or go somewhere, we have a shuttle bus that they can use for free. Our patrol officers patrol on foot, bike, and by car around campus, so you'll always see them around so students can feel safe around our campus. And we also have a Wilkes Shield app. And what that does is if a student feels unsafe, they can immediately push the button on their app and it'll alert our public safety officers to their location immediately so someone can be dispatched to that location if something is going on. And it's also another unique feature that in the app, if a student has a night class and they maybe feel uneasy about walking back to their campus residence hall, they can actually request an officer to walk them from their class to their front door of their residence hall and make sure that they get in safely. So that's another unique piece that we have at Wilkes to make sure that students really feel safe on our campus. And I know that would really put parents at ease, sending their student, to another country and, being able to navigate and to make sure that they stay safe while on our campus.
Right.
And closing out, just some COVID-19 updates. Since this is a very unique situation for everyone around the world right now, we've really adopted some new admissions policies and are being really flexible for this cycle and future cycles. So a few of our changes, we are accepting unofficial documents, and that goes for international students permanently. So students are able to email us their documents or even just a screenshot or a copy of their documents at this time and moving forward so that we can flexibly move their admission forward and very quickly, since we know schools are closed at the moment and not everyone's able to get their documents. We are offering virtual student experiences, and I'll be happy to share this presentation with you after so that you can kind of walk through that experience. We have a virtual walking tour, a lot of videos and visuals for students and families to really see our campus without actually having to come to the US. And we're also doing virtual admission sessions and financial aid sessions. So a student can go on that experience, or a family member can sign up and they can have a virtual session just like this and speak with me or any of our financial aid counselors to discuss admission process, what the cost might look like for the student or the family. So we are going to continue moving forward with those as well, so students are able to sign up online. And for our students who are coming for this fall, we've lowered our deposit amount from $300 US to $150. For our international students, the deposit is a bit unique, just because students have to get the student visa and to be able to get here. So students can either pay the $150 deposit if they know they want to come, and we can always defer that to the next term. It does count towards their tuition for whatever term that they would come. Or we will waive students' deposit after they show us proof of their student visa. So we have two different options for our international students that we are trying to accommodate to make sure that everyone is being flexible for this cycle and moving forward, because I know it will impact even next year's cycle. So I know I gave you a lot of details and a lot of information, but I hope I have been able to educate you a little bit more on Wilkes University and who we are and what we stand for and how we can help students in India.
Yeah, of course. A lot of information you already gave.
Wonderful. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them. Or if you think of anything later, I'm happy to follow up by email or LinkedIn or WhatsApp.
Well, Abby, I think you covered almost all the important aspects, what was required for a counselor to give the students. And only one thing, because of, what do you think, because of this COVID-19, because the present scenario is, see, I'm telling you my school, approximately 35 students got admission abroad, whether it's US or UK, Australia or Canada, whatever. But now parents are denying to get, send them, although they got the admission in some of the very top universities of the world, but still the parents are denying to get admission and sending them abroad. So what do you think, like, will that really overcome very soon, or it'll take some time, or what exactly? Because you're in an international market and you know the situation very well. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think some students and families might be a little bit scared, but that's why we are definitely offering this virtual face-to-face kind of experience to kind of help talk them
Mhm,
through it and ease their fears. From what we're hearing, we fully intend to open our campus this fall, and we want to make sure families know that we're practicing our social distancing, really making sure that they have the necessary cleaning supplies in our dorms, in our campus, and really just trying to make
mhm,
sure that they feel comfortable and know that we're trying to do everything we can to make sure our campus is safe, not only for students, but our staff, our faculty, and anyone who comes into contact with our university. I think overall that some students may end up taking a gap year. They may defer if they have that
mhm,
ability, just to
mhm.
kind of see how things play out. Obviously, there's something new in the news every day, and even from my child's doctor, I heard that it's going to be a seasonal thing. So this may end up coming back again like the flu does every year. Um, so I like to say we can't live in fear. We need
Mhm.
to embrace everything and take our challenges head on. So that's kind of how I approach students and families. Um, they try to ease the fears and let them know that everywhere in the world is dealing with this. It's not just the US, it's not just China, not just India.
I understand. We'll
It's
take
everywhere. So we're all
little.
taking the necessary precautions to make sure students are safe. And should
Mhm,
things, should we not open, we fully intend to be able to offer all of our courses online so students could start in the fall
mhm,
online from home and then join us
mhm.
on campus in January. So we do have a couple of
Okay.
options that we are working with to make sure if it's not safe to open,
Mhm.
we're not going to put students and families at risk, and we'll give them the
All right.
opportunity to take these courses from home and then come and join us in January.
Great, great.
Uh, Abby, I have a question here.
Mhm.
I am sure that you will not be knowing about the other universities, but if I talk about Wilkes, suppose a student has got an offer for this fall 2020, and the
Mhm.
student is not having enough courage to join the university for in fall 2020. So will that offer be valid for spring 2021 as well?
Yes, it will, pending that the student doesn't take any courses, university courses in India or elsewhere. That offer is still valid. That scholarship is still valid. All they need to do is simply tell us they'd like to defer. Um, and if they do take courses, we would then need to review that updated transcript, and then we would award them a new scholarship accordingly based on whatever the courses and the grades that they earned.
Okay, great. And one more thing, when the student has to opt for either CPT or OPT, so when is the time when the student has to inform in the international office that the student has to opt for OPT?
So students who are doing CPT, it's a little bit different because it's part of their program. So our office hosts workshops for students for CPT and OPT and how to apply, and works with them individually on a case-by-case basis since everyone's situation is a little unique. Um, but students who are doing CPT, if they know they're doing an internship in the fall, they would need to come at least a month in advance to get their counseling on what they need to do to apply, and then work with the office to get that approval in our International Student Services office. As for OPT, it's a little unique because students can take a few months to get their approval. So if they know they're graduating in, for example, December of this year, we would recommend them to come in September, October to start the process of learning what they need to do to apply, because you can only choose, your approval could come, between 30 and even 120 days. So students need to plan accordingly and choose specific dates based on what the international office will share with them on their immigration status. So it's a pretty unique situation, but we do recommend they come in a few months in advance prior to graduation.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And one more thing. I'm so sorry, I've been asking a lot of questions.
That's
Vishal, can I
okay.
ask?
Of course, yes, of course, yes. All my queries also, rectified. Please carry on.
Thank you so much. Abby, do you organize job fairs kind of thing in your university, wherein different companies visit your campus, and in which all countries do the students get a chance to get employed?
Yes, so we do have job fairs that take place for all of our students. So we have one in the fall and in the spring, so that employers are able to come in and sometimes interview students on the spot for employment. So students have gone on to work at large banking firms in New York City. We've had some students go to work at Google, Apple, just to name a few of these larger, companies that students probably have heard of. And many have gone to work at Hershey, the chocolate company, since that is located in
Wow.
Pennsylvania. So students have gone on for various jobs at Hershey as well. And touching on campus jobs, we do have part-time on campus jobs for students as well. So a student can apply to work, for example, in the admissions department with me, to give campus tours or be a student ambassador. So various departments will also offer part-time jobs for students, should they need a little extra spending money or want to get some experience working. But this will also help them, if they do choose to work on
That's
campus,
great.
get a
That's
social
great. Sounds great.
security number.
And luckily I have been to Hershey's factory.
Ah, wow.
Yes, the air smells like chocolate there. So if a student gets to work there and they love chocolate, it's going to be heaven for them.
Yeah.
Eddie, just one question, if I
Uh-huh.
can.
Yeah, there were lots of
Uh,
flavors and yeah.
yeah. Okay. I don't know whether that's 20 hours a week, that job on the campus. Is it available out there as well? And how much, if it's like how much the students will get it for 20 hours a week along with their studies?
Yeah, so typically international students are limited to only 20 to 25 hours a week. But it all kind of
Uh-huh.
depends on what the office needs. Some students may only get 5 hours, or if they're a tutor, they may get 25 hours if they have lots of students who need a tutor for a course. And it depends on the department also and the funding. So some students could get paid, $10 an hour, or some could get paid, 12. So it depends on, like, if you're a tutor for a specific course, you've obviously had to have excelled in that course, so you might get a little bit extra depending on if that department has the funding to pay a little bit more. But all students are able to get at least $9 to $10 an hour for their on-campus employment. So we don't expect students to rely on that to help fund them while they're there, but it's also nice to have a little bit of that extra spending money if you want to hop on the bus and go to New York City for the weekend with your friends.
Yeah.
Is there any question from your side, Vishal?
Well, I'm done. A lot of information. There's a bundle of information I got it about Wilkes. So thank you so much, Abby. And if anything I required any information or anything any student want to talk to or the parents want to talk to, I'll just let you know. I have Nupur's and Afsha's number, so I'll just let them know, or might be I just contact you personally, whatever it is.
Yeah,
So once again, thank you so much, and I'm done with my questions. I'm inquiries right now.
I
wonderful.
have one
Thank
request
you.
from you, Vishal. I would request you to please share some insight about the school. I'm sure Abby would love to know about the school.
All right. So as we this Sanskar Valley school is like one of you can say like we got, 3 times the top 5 schools of India, and we started in 2006. So it's approximately 14, 15 years of the journey of the school. And we have 2 boards right now, which is the ICSC, which is the Indian board, and the Cambridge board, CIA.
Okay.
So, and yeah, and we have in all from very nursery, I mean the KG to the 12th graders, we have somewhat like 2,500 students in all. And we have different blocks. So the higher studies, the higher students block called the Shikhar block. Shikhar is the maximum one, which where the ninth and from the ninth to the 12th graders study. So I'm taking care of the Shikhar block, and although I teach also, I teach French language out there, and I'm also a career counselor out there. So I mean, 2 things on my shoulder. So so this is what our school is, and we have somewhat like 30-35% of the boarding students, and from all over the India, across India, I mean every corner of the India, we have the students. So we do have a different cultures in the school, although that's all national. But yes, of course, we do have different cultures. Sometimes we do have international students as well. I taught one of the girls; she was from Spain last year. So very few, just 1 or 2 students internationally. That's it. So this is what all about our school is all about. Anything you want to know particularly, so just let me know.
Yeah, I'm interested. How many of your students actually go abroad, and what percentage actually go to the US?
Okay. So for 9 to 12th graders, we do have some program called SAP, which is called the Shikhar Activity Program. So almost every Saturday we conduct some or other activity for the for the career development mainly. And particularly for 11th and 12th graders, we do have some activities like we conduct the career fairs, which is like the flagship of our school. And somewhat like last year to last year, or this is the third year we have done it. And somewhat like 25 to 30 major universities of the world across the globe, they come to our school and they have a chit chat, I mean, personally discussion with the students and all these things. This is what we do on our part. As far as number of students concerned, to be very honest to you, Abby, not very much, because in 12th grade we have somewhat like you can say 110 students or students every year, somewhat like 100 to 120 students in all. So out of that, somewhat like 30 to 40 students every year they go out
Okay.
for the studies, whether it's US or UK or Australia.
Mhm.
Only UK and US and Australia, these are the major countries where the students want to go. These
Mhm.
are so, and particularly if I talk about US, so somewhat like 10, 12 students probably,
Okay.
approx.
Great. I think that was my big question, kind of where are students going, and what are they, let me ask another. What are they kind of looking for in terms of major? Engineering, business?
Not exactly engineering, but of course, management is more inclined, because
Okay.
engineering, as far as concerned, because the one who is looking for engineering, because in India, that's a, you can say that's a flagship, like they want to go for IITs and some other institute. So normally, what I find myself as a counselor, because when they go in grade 11th, a lot of PCM students, they take, they change their school to the CBSE, because IIT is a pattern where they operate for the CBSE thing, and we being an ICSC in Cambridge, so students mainly majority of the students who want to go for the engineering, they change their school. So we do have the physics, chemistry, maths in our school, but very few of them. But of
Okay.
course, the major chunk is the humanities and the management. They operate this in comparison more.
Wonderful. That's great. I say most schools I talk to, everyone wants to do engineering, and there are very few of the humanities and arts sciences students.
No. And a lot of students are now going for sports management as well. And you said something about sports management. I saw a lot of courses. So that's really good. That's a wonderful course.
Great. I think that was all the questions I had for you.
So,
So
Aksha,
thank you,
Vishal, I
Lisa, for
think you can, yeah.
oh, I just want to know, like, whether this particularly PPT what Abhi showed, can I have this copy of this, so that I'll just go through this once again, and if I have any query, or even if I can share this with my students as well, So that would be really great if you can just do it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
I'm done
You
for
can get
today.
it.
Please tell me now.
Uh,
Thank you.
Yeah, Vishal, I was just thinking that once you'll be getting the PPT, and if you want to show this to your students first, so you can just share that with the students. And if you want, if there are certain students who want to attend a session with Wilkes University, then we can even invite them for the next level, and we can have an interactive session with Abby again, along with the students.
And actually, that's what I'm asking for, because the once I get this PPT or a link or something so that they can
Yeah.
share it, so that I can share it on the WhatsApp group, and I can ask like whoever interested in learning more about Wilkes and all these things, so they can just contact me or contact you as well. So that would be great. That's a step-by-step process. So that's why I'm asking for that PPT. If
Perfect.
you can.
We can do that.
Yeah, perfect.
Great.
So we'll be sharing that PPT with you, Vishal.
Sure. So is that all for today?
Yeah,
That's
I
all for
guess.
me.
And I thank you both from Unibrijj side. Thank you for your valuable time. And Abby, it was a detailed presentation. And Vishal, thank you so much for all the information about the school.
Once again, thank you so much for giving all the information. Abby, thank you so much, and please take care of yourself, all of you, because such a hard time is going on, and we are all having rest at a place. So the best is online thing. So be connected and be in touch, and just share it to me all the details so that I can share it with the students. And let's hope for the very best.